Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365 here, and we put out the video earlier about Rob Gronkowski coming to WWE. Be sure to check that out. But a bit of breaking news. It's literally just broken in the last few minutes. I don't have any notes. We're literally just going to get my straight reaction to this. WrestleMania 36, we finally got an official announcement about it. It's not postponed. It is going to indeed take place on April 5th, 2020, but it's no longer going to be in the stadium there in Tampa, Florida. It has been relocated to WWE's Performance Center in Orlando and will take place inside an empty arena, similarly to SmackDown and Raw tonight. We're actually about 40 minutes or so before Monday Night Raw is due to go on the air as of recording right now. And yeah, I'll read out the official statement from WWE. It says, quote, "In coordination with local partners and government officials, WrestleMania and all related events in Tampa Bay will not take place. However, WrestleMania will still stream live on Sunday, April 5th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on WWE Network and be available on pay-per-view. Only essential personnel will be on the closed set at WWE's training facility in Orlando, Florida to produce WrestleMania," end quote. So there's a lot of mixed feelings here from myself when it comes to this decision. First of all, I'm surprised that they haven't postponed it. I'm surprised because if you look at any other professional sports league, if you look at any other mass gatherings or just any events in general, for instance, if you look at things like soccer, football over here in the UK, they've tried doing it behind closed doors, and they've tried doing that because of the people, the personnel that have to travel to those events, whether they be soccer players or anything like that. It's just not been feasible due to due to the spread of what. And they've just decided to postpone it, scrap it. We'll go back to it, reassess in a few weeks' time. WWE was expected to follow suit. I think everyone thought the most likely thing for WrestleMania was going to be postponement and then reevaluate in a couple of months' time, maybe look to do it in June, July, that kind of period of time when we get a better idea of what's really going on in the world, quite frankly. That's not the case. WWE haven't done that, and we heard rumours and reports all day, or at least I did, of Vince McMahon's least favourite option was relocating WrestleMania to the Performance Center with an empty crowd, and ultimately that's what they've done. And part of me is stunned that the show is still going to happen on April 5th. If you look at any other event at all around the world, it's been postponed and they're not going ahead. So WWE apparently will refuse to back down in terms of putting the show on. Secondly, it was always going to be a massive hit in the pocket for Vince McMahon and the WWE. That was a given, because 40 or 50% of your fan base, those traveling from Europe and around the world, to be honest, were not able to attend WrestleMania. So that was always going to hurt WWE's pocket, Vince McMahon's pocket. And you'd most likely even have a lot of domestic fans that would refuse to travel. So that was always going to hit them in the pocket. I don't know in terms of the deposits on renting the stadium for an evening, all of that stuff. That's going to hurt WWE in the pocket. And this is completely unprecedented. It's unprecedented times calls for unprecedented actions, it would seem. And that unprecedented action is that for the first time ever, WrestleMania, WWE's biggest show of the year, their staple show, their Super Bowl, whatever you want to call it, will take place with no fans. And I mean, I'm fascinated. I am fascinated to see how they do it. How you can the last few years WrestleMania has been like a 5 or 6 hour show. That's difficult enough to sit through with fans. Without fans, my word, unless they start to cut the show down, I can't imagine them doing a 6 hour show with no fans in an empty arena. That would just be bizarre. In terms of, I guess, of a storyline point of view, now you can continue with the storylines and the stories leading up to WrestleMania. We have that on Raw tonight with the likes of The Undertaker, AJ Styles, Edge, Randy Orton. Steve Austin's going to make an appearance, I guess, of promoting some WrestleMania thing. But it's stunning. It really is stunning. I was convinced just as time went on. I mentioned this a few days ago when I did the video about the whole situation at the moment, that as the days went on and on, just the logistics alone of what is happening right now in the world made it seem like just putting on WrestleMania was impossible. It really was impossible at this point of view. So I was convinced WWE were going to postpone it, purely because, yes, it was going to be a big hit to their wallet and be a big hit to their bottom line. But that's the case for everyone at the moment. That's the case for, hockey, baseball, Premier League, football over here, Champions League, Europa League, whatever sporting competition, basketball, of course. That was going to be the case for everyone. So I assumed that the WWE would be no different. But I guess WWE is going to try and squeeze the amount of money they can in terms of network subscriptions. I guess the thought process here is that, whilst there might not be fans attending, there's going to be a lot of people with not a lot to do, self-isolating at home, that might want to watch WrestleMania. And what does that mean? That means people signing up to the network. Now, that's a very cold and callous way to look at it, but I would be stunned if Vince McMahon hasn't looked at it like that. And Vince McMahon, I said this the other day, is the king, isn't he, of the show must go on. And apparently it looks like it will go on, which is stunning. WWE WrestleMania has become such a big iconic event, and it always has been, to be honest, but especially in the last 10 or 15 years when they've been at stadiums every year. They've had 60, 70, 80, 90, even 100,000 people there, and scale that down to zero. In 2020 there is going to be zero fans. It's certainly going to be a historic event. For me, to be honest, it's still up in the air if it will go ahead. I said this the other day. I mean, all it takes is one person at the Performance Center to be tested positive. If they're tested positive for what, I mean, then the whole Performance Center or anyone that has interacted with them has to go into self-isolation for a minimum of 2 weeks. You think of Vince McMahon as well. He's in that target age demographic of people that need to be especially careful, people age 70 or above. So what happens if one of, I don't know, for argument's sake, what happens if, I don't know, Randy Orton tonight starts to feel under whether he gets a test and he's found out that he's positive for it. Anyone that's interacted with Randy Orton that day, which would be everyone at Raw tonight, would have to self-isolate for 2 weeks minimum. Then what happens? Because then your whole Monday Night Raw roster is up, the status is up in the air for WrestleMania. Do you still go ahead but just have a SmackDown WrestleMania? You know what I mean? It's a very fine line. So I still think this situation is very fluid, to be honest, even though we have got finally a definitive announcement about what the status is at WrestleMania. I still think this is all very, very fluid, and a lot can change over the last few days. We now know that WWE's intention is for the show to go ahead at the Performance Center with zero fans. That just itself, when you hear it out loud, it is stunning. It really is stunning. But as I said earlier, it's unprecedented times. It takes unprecedented measures. I don't think this is over yet. I think we're gonna potentially see something. We could potentially see something happen over the next few days, because what happens if one of the roster or one of the employees, one of the road agents, whoever, it gets tested positive? We'll have to wait and see. But WWE would appear to be going ahead. Now, they said essential personnel only are going to be on hand for this WrestleMania, empty arena WrestleMania, which is, again, just hearing it out loud is just absolutely mind blown. But essential personnel is going to be on hand. And you think of the amount of people that are usually backstage in that stadium for WrestleMania, it must go into the hundreds. It must go into the hundreds when you think of the talent there, celebrities there, officials there, other people signed to WWE, celebrities, whoever, entourages. They're all backstage at WrestleMania. So having an event that big with only essential personnel, it's just going to be strange. The only people I can imagine are, a couple of people going to shoot it. Vince McMahon, Triple H, even on Friday Night on SmackDown, Corey Graves couldn't travel. Triple H was on commentary. Maybe we're going to have Michael Cole and Triple H on commentary for the entirety of WrestleMania. To be honest, I'd love that. I thought Triple H was great. I even was pitching for Friday Night SmackDown to have Triple H on commentary for WrestleMania anyway. Perhaps he will be. Perhaps we could see a repeat of Triple H shooting some of the matches on camera for WrestleMania. I don't know. I don't know. But it would appear if WWE is going to go all out for this, maybe because of the budget they have, even though a lot of that I guess now is wasted because it's a lot of it was tied into WrestleMania at was it Raymond Park? Is that what it's called? Or Raymond Stadium or anything like that? Perhaps they throw some curveballs at us now and try and get something even more extra special for WrestleMania. Who knows? This is at this point, like I said, this is all very fresh. This has only happened as a recording. Let me double check here. As a recording, only happened or was announced 25 minutes ago. So this is the immediate reaction. Stuff might happen in the interim to it. CM Punk has also tweeted about it, which is quite humorous, saying, quote, "Well, that's one way to make sure Roman finally gets not booed and nobody chants for me," which is hilarious. Yeah, it is. It's true, but it is hilarious. Yeah, it's insane. It is really insane. And like I said, this is obviously what everyone's going to be talking about going forward. So who knows? I'm sure we might hear some more on Monday Night Raw tonight. I'm sure they will expand on it more on Monday Night Raw tonight. We'll have to see what they come up with, because this is beyond unprecedented, really, isn't it? It really is beyond unprecedented, and it's stunning. It's stunning. But we will have to see. And what is crazy is that, like I said, we were getting reports early on in the day. WrestleVotes, if you haven't followed them on Twitter, I do recommend. They're incredibly credible when it comes to their news at WrestleVotes. Earlier on in the day, they said, quote, "Mania relocating to the PC has very little support. Source says that the support is coming from a high place, however. I'm hearing the leading idea is postponement. However, that is much harder than you can imagine. Uncharted waters for WWE here." And they followed up with saying a very high place. So it would appear that the person who was really driving that the show must go on April 5th, regardless if it's in a full arena or not, was Vince McMahon himself. And like everyone says, the buck ultimately stops at Vince McMahon. So it would appear that this is coming straight from Vince himself. And, at the end of the day, it's Vince's playbox. It's his company. He can do what he wants. I'm still leaning on the side that I think they should have postponed it. I still think even over here in the UK, we're having, and over in some places in Europe, we're having people come out saying, and reports from the experts saying that maybe even gatherings of more than 50 people might be banned. So how you can put on a show as big as WrestleMania without 50, with less than 50 people would be staggering alone. So again, this is beyond crazy. This is beyond anything I think we've ever seen. Anything we've ever seen, especially in the history of the WWE, in the history of WrestleMania. This will be a WrestleMania that will be truly historic and will be referenced infinite amount of times throughout WWE history going forward. But like I said previously, I wouldn't think this is over yet, because I think things could change in the next few days. We've seen how much has changed with all of this whole situation globally in the last 3 or 4 days alone. I mean, 2 weeks ago there was no issues about WrestleMania taking place at all. Everyone just assumed we were up and ready for it, and a couple of weeks later, WrestleMania's taken place in an empty arena at the Performance Center, and Raw and SmackDown have been the same, and I'm sure NXT will be the same, and the AEW will be the same, and we don't know how long this is going to last. So it's unprecedented. That's all I can really say. It's unprecedented. But as I said, as the situation evolves, we'll keep you covered here at Wrestle News 365. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Twitter, that's at 365Wrestle. Facebook, that's at WrestleNews365. Instagram, at WrestleNews365. As I said, any updates we get, we'll put reactions here on our YouTube channel, WrestleNews365, and also on our podcast, which is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just search WrestleNews365 and you'll be able to subscribe to our podcast. We really do appreciate all of your listening, all of your support, and we'll keep you updated. But what do you think about this breaking news? WrestleMania taking place in an empty arena at WWE's Performance Center for the first time ever. The first time ever WWE Super Bowl, their grandest stage of all, their show of shows, is going to be without any fans. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to like, share, and ultimately subscribe. You can do that by clicking the bottom right hand corner, clicking the subscribe button, or wait until the end of this video and clicking the subscribe button on the screen in just a second. Thank you very much for watching, listening, or streaming. And wow, I can't believe it's going to go on, but we'll see what happens. And I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click at the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.